Hi, welcome to our podcast, Tune In with MPSCS. My name is Danielle Stewart. In celebration of Michigan's Public Safety Communication System's 30th anniversary, we are fortunate to have with us one of our outstanding longtime MPSCS employees, Rajala. He's a radio technician in the Superior Region Service Center of Mohawk, Michigan. In November, at our MPSCS annual division meeting, Dell was given Technician of the Year for his exceptional contributions to public safety in the Superior Region. Comments included his unwavering dedication to his team, local partners, and his community, which is unmatched. Welcome to the show, Dell.
Thank you so much for having me.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where do you live, your family, a little bit of background?
Well, as stated, I'm currently in the Upper Peninsula in Mohawk, Michigan, probably about 25 miles south of Copper Harbor. I'll let your listeners figure that one out by using their Google Maps, but it is a beautiful area. I'm retired United States Air Force. I'm about to retire from the MPSCS in about 10 months after 30 years of service. Have a rather large family that I'm proud of. I have 8 children and now 22 grandchildren, in which one of them is a great-grandbaby. It's been an exceptional ride, and I hope to still continue that even into retirement.
That's absolutely amazing, Dell. I think that I speak for everyone at MPSCS that your impending retirement is going to leave quite a hole, and we are all going to be very sad to see you go, but very happy for you too and all the things that you have to look forward to. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do for fun and what sort of hobbies you have?
Oh, well, fun. Family is number one. Every weekend we're together. Our block has got to be figuring what is going on because we just get invaded with vehicles and have a huge family feed no matter what the season. I'm into video production, droning, but I am now beginning to practice retirement and really enjoying traveling, and especially to warmer climates, and been having a ball with that lately.
That's great. That is great. You clearly have a lot to look forward to. Can you tell me a little bit about how long you've been with MPSCS? You touched on it there at the beginning, but you want to elaborate just a little bit more?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been with the MPSCS since its inception. I was originally hired on as a Michigan State Police radio technician. After a short stint with the Michigan Department of Military Affairs. So early 96, I want to say, is when I started officially for MSP, and it's just been a wonderful goal the whole time. It's been a challenge that I've welcomed, and being part of a really awesome team is made up for all of it.
That's great, Dell. You have demonstrated a serious commitment to your community by serving the Keweenaw County Board of Commissioners for over 14 years as well. What does that encompass, and what other roles have you been involved in locally?
Well, yes, I was appointed. I didn't even have to run for it. There was an empty spot on that chair, or for that chair. And taking that role, not knowing anything about it, but kind of welcomed the challenge. And the benefit was for the county and for me was to open my eyes in the government procedure and really seeing where help is needed. And when I brought my skill set to the 911 board, that they were really appreciative of that. It's amazing to serve in that role as well. My whole life since graduating high school, I've been somehow affiliated with the government in any fit form or fashion. On top of that, I've been a volunteer firefighter for a 10-year period. I serve on a Western UP Health Department, which encompasses 6 counties. I'm the vice chair of that board and also on the executive committee for the Board of Health. So it's been busy. It's been busy for me. It's rather enjoyable.
It's a life of service, Dell, a serious resume of a life of service and dedication to others. That's amazing. You also served in the military, which you touched on that. Can you tell us about what branch or anything else about the service?
Well, again, retired from the Air Force and doing radio communications work, much like what I'm doing right now for MPSCS. Started early on, was initially in combat communications, which if you look at it, we were the Air Force, but we look nothing like the Air Force. We look maybe like the Army or the Marines, out in the field and deployed all the time. That was kind of hard on family life, but the commitment was enjoyable, and that training got me as to where I'm at today and really well paid off.
Awesome. To kind of connect those two, could you tell us a little bit about what you do currently as a radio communication technician with MPSCS?
Well, I serve in a unique position because I'm a single person shop in the Upper Peninsula. My service area is primarily a 4-county area. So with that, there might be anywhere from 11 or 13 towers that I'm responsible for, but yet every department within those 4 counties, I am their communications person. So between DNR conservation, DNR wildlife, forestry, parks, MSP, MDOT, FIA, it's a daunting list, and no 2 days are the same, and I think that's what makes my job enjoyable.
Absolutely. You kind of touched on it, so I'll just ask if you have any more details you want to provide, but specifically, what does your area do, some of the specific functions within your section? We know that there are a lot of moving parts.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the infrastructure is first and foremost, maintaining the towers, maintaining the ability for our subscribers and our customers to communicate. And, that's just break fix and preventive maintenance throughout the year. The towers are number one, but then the subscriber services in my area, I actually build or install the MDOT vehicles, the DNR vehicles. So I get to know a lot of people, and I know all the operating locations within my area, and I'm proud, very happy to serve them, and I have a very good working relationship with each of them.
That's what's so important in what we do, is the effective communication and building those solid relationships with our partners. So it makes a difference.
Yes.
When and why did you enter this type of work at MPSCS? Have you always done some sort of work regarding communications or radio communications?
Well, it goes back to an earlier time when I was a young boy. I had a rather good friend, and I watched his father was in a similar trade, and I took such exception to that line of work and seeing what was actually being done and going right down to a component level and fixing something, but understanding. And that was very attractive to me, and I wanted to know how to do that. And that carried on through school. I was strong in the computers, but then right into selecting my job in the Air Force, I asked, where is it that I can fix something? I don't want to replace something. I want to fix something. And that's the path that led me on to where I'm at today.
That's awesome, Del. That is a great story in the history of how you got here. We're going to take a little break, and we will be right back.
If a natural disaster comes knocking, how prepared is your family? You can't just close the door on earthquakes, floods, or hurricanes and hope they go away. That's why it's important to make a plan now. Ready.gov/plan has the tools and tips you need to prepare your family for an emergency. So if disaster shows up at your doorstep, you'll be ready. Visit ready.gov/plan and make a plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Regardless of what you have seen or heard, 911 cannot locate you immediately when calling from a cell phone. Knowing your location is very important when calling. This is as simple as knowing the address you're calling from, teaching address information to children, and knowing what street you are on while traveling. Know your location.
Well, welcome back to our podcast. Our guest today is Del Rajala at Michigan's Public Safety Communication System. Del, our radio network technician in the Superior Region Service Center, Mohawk Detachment out of Houghton, Michigan. Welcome back, Del.
I'm glad to be here.
So could you tell us about some of the big projects that you have worked on and what sort of improvements have been made to the system in your area from MPSCS supporting communication in the UP?
Oh, wow. I mean, after 30 years trying to remember all the things, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, some high points I can even remember back on early in the project when the system was turned on. I can remember being at the Calumet post and worried how operations of the system was going to occur and how the troops were able to use it. I remember having a discussion, maybe a heated one, but insisting that the local post had the local talk group for the sheriff's office and the local PDs. They did not want to have state police on that same channel. I said, how crazy can that be? They're not going to hear one another. And a week later, it was changed. So that was the beginning of interoperability right there in the UP. It was great. Other things I can remember, during Katrina, I believe it was, that we needed our first mobile communications trailer. And our first trailer, which is called the COW, the Cell on Wheels, I actually built that. Was involved in the procurement of the trailer, and then it was delivered to the UP, and I was able to procure all the items and custom rack mounting equipment and had items manufactured just for that trailer, and I put that trailer together. So
that's amazing. We need to put a little tribute to you on the side of that trailer when retirement day comes.
And I took a lot of my military skills with that in constructing that trailer. So and management at the time, seeing that, they said, just go do it. And I had an absolute ball doing that.
That's pretty cool.
Let's see, another high point in my career then was in 2010. I won what is called the MISA, the Michigan Information Systems Association IT Excellence Award. And the project that I did there was taking the Wisconsin and Upper Michigan border and creating an interoperable interface. I was instrumental in getting 800 megahertz equipment to each one of those Wisconsin dispatch centers that shared the border. And in that, there was also preparing the grant paperwork and the studies and what have you, and then procuring the equipment and installing it with their vendors. And it was a valuable tool because, that cross-border communications was absolutely necessary. And that was a very, very fun project. I guess today would be, closer to today's time, would be the ASR or the antenna tower at Michigan Tech University. That was huge, and in-building coverage is what they needed there. And I deferred the county from trying to explore a second radio system within Houghton to make that coverage. I convinced them. I said, you're surrounded by millions of dollars of infrastructure. Ask us for help,
Right, and we can find a way.
We can find a way, and a way was found. And it's worked excellent. They've turned into an excellent partner. Other than that, guiding agencies through mobile data and radio encryption use, and just answering their questions on a daily basis. If I feel like I'm their go-to, which I'm really happy to provide information and tell them that there's no silly question, but please, that's what I'm here for.
Absolutely. Again, those relationships and that communication and making sure that that's strong between us and the local partners. You've really set a great example for what that looks like, Del. Was there anything else you wanted to share on projects before I ask you some more questions?
No, I guess, right now it's just, with my remaining time left, I know we're going to go through some equipment upgrades eventually, but I'll miss out on that. But other projects right now is just maintaining the system. And I kind of like the saying that I've heard years ago for us maintainers is like trying to work on a 747 while it's flying.
Yeah.
We can't shut it off. We have to work on it while it's working, and that's a challenge.
Absolutely.
I really like.
Absolutely. I'm sure that you have some great stories or some favorite memories about your time here with MPSCS. Are there any particular ones you'd like to share?
Well, I mean, I could share one story. That was funny. We were just talking about acceptance testing in the UP, as there was anywhere else in Michigan, that we had to drive through and test each square mile.
Oh, wow.
While planning out this system. And
I don't think I've heard about this.
Oh, so it's amazing. So our pass-fail required that no 2 1 square mile grids touching will fail or can fail.
Wow.
That's not only to the north, south, east, and west, but that's the northwest, the southeast, even the corners.
Yeah.
So we had to traverse all of those grids, and I was so lucky to be paired with a Motorola technician and a state police trooper on the west end of the UP, and we took, at that time, Michigan State Police had Jeeps.
Yeah.
And they're very tiny, very nimble, but at the end of the day, I mean, we went through so much mud stomping and everything that there was not one patch of blue on that Jeep at the end of the day. One particular spot that we were crossing, we were looking at a road, and it was going right next to a stack of logs, loggers had logged.
Yeah.
But the mud was really bad, and that trooper was looking and thinking, I can make this. And we're like, oh, I can do it. And we're like, I just grabbed onto the handles and go. And I still remember him grabbing that wheel and turning and twisting and watching that log pile pass in front of us on the windshield because we were sideways.
Oh, my goodness.
At a speed. And I'm like, this is not going to end well. But it did. But, I mean, we went through everywhere and everything. That was amazing. That was fun. That was very fun.
Yeah, so you've arguably covered every square mile in your area.
Yes.
Hands down. That's amazing, though. That's very cool. I did not know that was part of the testing that went into the system.
Yes, and that was statewide, so other technicians went through the same. So.
That's crazy. Very cool, though. Very interesting. Del, can you tell me a fun fact about you that most people maybe don't know?
Huh. I guess it's hard for me to say no when someone asks for help. It's amazing. So you've heard my background and what I've done, and I think it's amazing that my wife has stayed with me for so many years. And as I'm taking items on, she had one time approached me, says, kind of lovingly poked me on the shoulder and said, "Remember, you got a family."
Yeah.
'Cause I was like, so I got to learn to say no sometimes, and I think in retirement that'll finally come.
Right. That's it. But it's your history of service and your background and willingness to help others. So that doesn't go unrecognized, Del. There's plenty of people that do know that about you and do appreciate that about you. Do you have any advice that you could give a student maybe looking into your career choice or, the career opportunities that we have available? Maybe some of the best advice that you've ever received?
Well, keep an open mind, ask questions. It is an exciting career. Our service, our industry, our niche is still yet to plateau, I believe, and who knows what's going to be around the corner 10 years from now. What we're working on now may be so archaic, and there's going to be some exciting developments. I truly believe that, and I'm going to miss that, being on the cutting edge, because working here at the MPSCS, we've always been trained on the latest and greatest. Yeah. And the state of Michigan and DTMB have done a fabulous job of funding us, and I think that's great.
So moving forward, what are your plans for the future and the things that you plan to do in retirement?
Well, I think for a while yet I'll still be affiliated with local government, but still wanting to enjoy time with my wife. The children are grown, and now it's our time. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking forward to most.
That's great. I am sure that your wife will be beyond happy to hear that when she gets to listen to this later on. Well, That's all that we have for today, and we want to thank you so very much, Del, for being here to tell us all about yourself and the MPSCS Superior Region. We just really appreciate you taking the time out to give us a little bit of your story.
Well, I thank you very much for inviting me to do this, and it was fun. It was great.
Good. We hope that you all have enjoyed the show, and we will be back soon. Thank you for listening to Tune In with MPSCS. This has been an MPSCS 30th Anniversary Edition podcast.
Be sure to look us up at www.michigan.gov/MPSCS, YouTube, SoundCloud, LinkedIn, and on Twitter at MPSCS. You can also subscribe to our podcast on iTunes so you never miss an episode. We will see you next time.